Hello, welcome to my channel, Reiki by Ruby. I'm Ruby. In this video I wanted to share something and felt guided to share something that I recently learned about myself, which is quite big and life-changing for me. Okay, if I'm looking this way, I'm reading my notes because I wrote a lot down and I want to say everything. Okay, so number one, I recently learned and discovered that I am a highly sensitive person, which is known as HSP, the abbreviation. I wrote down a little while ago when I was doing my research about it, the things that I relate to, so I'll just read some of that out. Okay, and these are the things that I relate to under the title of highly sensitive person. Okay, so being a perfectionist, being a great listener, good at reading facial expressions, being in tune with other people's emotions and wanting to help them with their problems, avoiding negative or violent movies or news or shows, feeling deeply moved by arts and music and having a rich imagination, not liking time pressure, being sensitive to the world around me, for me in particular, especially with bright lights and loud noises. That disturbs me sometimes. I don't really like it. And I feel overwhelmed when a lot happens at once and there's lots of different things happening at the same time. And that I'm deeply emotional and empathetic and that I enjoy quiet time. So those were some of the things that I came across on the highly sensitive person that I relate to quite strongly. So I've come across that term before. I briefly connected with it and then I think I must have forgot about it, but then it recently came up again and I'm kind of holding on to it a little bit in a healthy way because it helps me with my self-awareness and it helps me to find ways to better care for myself, which I've also written down. So of course setting boundaries, that's standard for everybody, but definitely to sensitive people. Journaling, mindfulness, talk therapy, so processing my emotions, finding a way to add calmness throughout my day, taking time for myself, spending time with nature or pets. I've got a rabbit, so spending time with my rabbit. Sleep. People who are highly sensitive people often need more sleep, and I've found that definitely to be true for me, so I do need more sleep. So yeah, I've written ways that I can thrive knowing that I'm a highly sensitive person, because it's good knowing that about myself, but then I felt a bit like, okay, I know that this is me, now what? So that's why I wrote that extra list down of how to thrive knowing that. Okay, so highly sensitive person. 2, I've realised that I have autistic traits, and that's been a big eye-opener for me for many reasons, which I'll talk about in a minute. But yeah, I didn't know this. I've always felt different, always. That's not new to me. I've always felt different amongst others around me, definitely throughout childhood, teenagehood, college, university, definitely throughout all the different jobs that I've had. Yeah, that I'm not surprised. I printed out the unofficial female autism checklist that was made by someone called Samantha Kraft. I'm not reading all of it out, but I do want to read some of it out that I relate to, that I circled through. And when I did go through all of this, I related to about 90 to 95% of this. And there is a little bit of a difference between male and female autistic traits, only that with females, they tend to mask, so hide some of those traits in order to fit in with society, and some of the traits that girls with autism have are usually socially acceptable, so it's less identifiable. It's easier for girls with autism to be misdiagnosed or just not seen. Okay, so I'm just going to read a few things out that I relate to on this list. So yeah, by Samantha Kraft. Okay, so being a deep thinker. I'll read some of this out. Okay, so she's got it in different sections, and within each section there's a whole load of lists. I'll just read some stuff out. Okay, so a deep thinker, a prolific writer drawn to poetry. I love poetry. Highly intelligent, doesn't take things for granted, being a bit naive at times, yes, honest, finds it difficult to understand vindictive behaviour and retaliation, So people who enjoy manipulating others, I don't understand that at all. Feelings of confusion and being overwhelmed, feelings of isolation, escapes through the rhythm of words, possibly related to poetry. Had imaginary friends growing up. I thought that was normal. I thought many children have imaginary friends, but anyway. Makes friends with older or younger females more so than friends her age. I feel for me, possibly older. I was more connected with older people who are older than me. That I escape by playing the same music over and over. Again, I thought that was normal. If there's a new song or just any song that I really love and enjoy in a particular moment, I will repeat it, have it on repeat more than 2 or 3 times, maybe 10, 20 or possibly even more. But if I enjoy the song, I enjoy the song. But anyway, let's see. Sensory issues. I've never viewed it as an issue, but I do know that I am sensitive to loud noises. It just irritates me at times, or screeching noises, things like that. Okay, that I question my place in the world always, and that I wonder who I am and what's expected of me. Less so now, more so when I was younger. That friendships have ended suddenly, or that I find it difficult to make, or have a difficult time making friends. That I raise my hand too much in class. I've always done that. I felt if I know the answer, I know the answer. Shares in order to reach out. Often sounds either eager or disinterested. I found in many situations people, especially in job situations, people assume that I'm not interested. Yeah. That I hold a lot of thoughts, ideas and feelings inside, and that I feel as if I'm attempting to communicate correctly, which I don't know if that comes across in this video or previous videos. Okay, let me skip through some of this. It's a lot. That I find refuge when I'm alone. So I like my alone quiet time. That I prepare myself mentally for outings, meetings or interactions. So I guess such as this, having all my notes everywhere. I like being prepared. I might be connected to perfectionist, I don't know. That I require a large amount of downtime. I didn't really even know that about myself until I read this list, that yeah, alone quiet time is important for me. Okay. That I'm highly intuitive to others' feelings, take criticisms to heart, that I long to be seen, heard and understood, become hurt when others question or doubt my work, dislike words or things that hurt animal or people, collects or rescues animals, my rabbit is a rescue, questions life purpose and how to be a better person, feels trapped between wanting to be myself and wanting to fit in. Again, not so much anymore. I feel like I don't care as much, but I don't know if that's the truth. We'll see. A young sounding voice. I'm told that by many people, that my voice is nice or sounds young. That certain jokes go over my head. For me, I feel like it's because I didn't find it funny. And I feel I do have a good sense of humour. I like watching a lot of comedy. I find myself funny. But yeah, certain jokes go over my head. I've been in situations, mainly at work, where people are joking and then I ask questions about it, and then they then tell me that it was a joke. Anyway. Likes to know word origins, or root causes and foundations. So I guess that's me doing deep research into things such as this. High interest in songs and song lyrics. I did study song lyrics when I was a child to songs that I liked. Okay, that I've got a great memory, and a few extra things that I wrote down that's not on the list, but just from other research that I did, that I sometimes take things literally, that my facial expression usually comes up as an issue with some people. I'll talk about that in a minute. Selective mutism, so I guess choosing to be very quiet in certain areas. For me, I feel that's a protective thing. If I'm amongst energy that I'm not comfortable with. That I usually prefer animals more than people. That's true. Highly intelligent and academically gifted. Yes. And that I like to arrange and organize objects. There's more, but I'm not going to read anymore. But yes, so that was this. Again, I feel like that explains, knowing that I have autistic traits explains so much. So much. It really helps me. I don't know if I said that already, but just knowing that does make me feel relieved, and knowing that that's the reason for why certain experiences happened the way that they happened. Like, I have a reason for it now. I'm like, oh, okay, that's why that happened, or that's how that came about, or that's how that person perceived me. Okay, I think I spoke about masking already, that girls usually develop masking techniques to fit in with society, kind of like a survival skill. And from that research, I've learned that I possibly have masking techniques that I'm kind of learning and growing through, so that I could be more of my authentic self. I didn't realise I was masking. I won't list all the different masking techniques, but some that I came across that I think I might do is smiling a lot and nodding to, I guess, be more socially accepted by others. Yeah. Okay. Ooh, there's so much I want to say. Okay. I'm just going to hold my notes. Back to the facial expressions quickly. I don't know if I've written that down to talk about, but anyway, when I was 8 or 9 at school, primary school, I remember very distinctively my teacher, who's the teacher, so at the top of the class, and we're all sitting on the floor. The teacher was teaching, and the students are watching and listening, so I thought, and the teacher kind of pointed me out in quite a rude way, I would say, and was kind of questioning, why am I looking at her? I was like, what? You're the teacher, I'm the child, I'm listening, I'm taking in the information. But for whatever reason, she clearly saw, I don't know, saw maybe my intense look, or she saw something, but that really stuck with me for quite a long time, because if there's any situation where looking at someone is required, you would think it's a child listening to the teacher, and that I got not in trouble for it, but pointed out for that. I think that wasn't really nice. I can feel that now, actually, that wasn't nice for me. Okay, also back to my facial expression. Childhood, but definitely during my teenage years, I loved to dance, street dance in particular. And I would do a lot of performances. I was in like a girl dance group, but yeah, I did a lot of street dance, which I absolutely loved. I still love dancing now, but it's just mainly at home. But anyway, in my dance classes, again, my facial expression would come up, of course, because dance is expressive, and although I'm very skilled at dancing, my face would come up again. So the dance teachers might say to kind of adjust, they might say, oh, that was perfect, but adjust your facial expression. And again, that stuck with me because I didn't know what they were talking about at all. Anyway, so I just wanted to share that was on my heart. Okay, one of the jobs that I've had was working with children and teenagers, mainly teenagers with autism and other needs and other behavioural issues. I was a teaching assistant. In art class, I was a teaching assistant, the main teacher was there, so I was sitting at a table with the students, and one of the girls who have autism, she asked me, do I have what they have? That's how she worded it. Said, Miss, do you have what we have? And she was referring to autism, and I kindly said, but I now realise it was quite blunt, I said no, because at the time I didn't believe that I had any autistic traits or anything like that, but I now realise that I do. yeah. Yes, I'm not officially diagnosed, but I'm happy keeping it at self-diagnosis. That's helpful for me. Yeah. Okay. There's more. Okay. Topic of family. So I believe this trait and being under the umbrella of neurodivergence. So there's an umbrella term, neurodivergence. Under that, there's many different I don't know what to call it, different diagnoses. Yeah, different diagnoses. Some of those things include HSP, so highly sensitive person, autism, and there's a whole there's a long list of things, but I'm just talking about the ones that I relate to. But anyway, so yeah, I believe these traits within me come from my mother's side. It was never really spoken about as being a possibility for the women to have, especially if, in my case, I'm intelligent, don't have any behavioural issues associated with my traits or anything like that. So yeah, it wasn't really spoken about, but I do feel surely you saw I was different in some way. You did, because I was the only child. On my mum's side, it's mainly women, and I was the only child. Like, there wasn't a lot of cousins or anything like that on my mum's side. So I was like the main focus as a child. So surely you saw certain things. I just feel like it would have been so helpful to me to have been coached or guided, during that time, to understand myself more. But either way, I'm happy I know this now. Anyway, and the women in my family, some of them, most of them, have worked with children or adults with autism as well, and other needs. I've often felt like an outsider in life generally, and also within my family, definitely more in my teenage and adulthood years. Maybe they didn't mean to make me feel like that on purpose, but that's just how I felt, and my feelings are valid. I feel like maybe in some ways I was a mirror to things that they maybe didn't want to face within themselves. I don't know for sure. All I know is that I'm prioritizing my peace and gravitating myself around things and people where I feel unconditional love. And Reiki by Ruby, so my channel here and my membership, Ruby Soul Star membership, helps me feel that a lot. It's very healing for me. Whew, okay. In a lot of ways, I felt socially punished for being the way that I am, even just with just small things, like making a lot of notes. I always make lots of notes for things. So obviously in the workplace, when learning a new skill or learning how a computer system works or whatever it is, I've got my notebook, I'm writing everything down. I was always made to feel that was weird. I have no idea why, but yeah, I don't know. I spoke about my facial expressions as a child with the teacher and with dance. Also struggling with friendships as well. One of my family members, I don't think she meant any harm by it whatsoever, but during my university years, so for my American viewers, that's college, during those years, yes, I did struggle to make friendships, and I didn't have any issues or any arguments with people at all, and I'm a lovely person. I hope that comes across. I'm genuine and true, but I guess for this reason, these differences made it hard to make friendships. This family member would point that out quite a lot and quite heavily, like, oh, why don't you have many friends? You're a nice person, what's going on? Why? I felt socially punished by that, and that's stuck with me a bit as well. But knowing this, it really helps. It just makes so much sense for me. Okay. Oh, let me breathe, because this is a lot for me. But I'm happy that I'm sharing this. Okay. So yeah, that's it really. So I'm a highly sensitive person, and I have autistic traits 100%. With that, when that realization, because I knew all those things, like all the things on the list that I read out, I already knew those things about me, but seeing the bigger picture of it all, like having the title or label autism or autistic traits, it really made a lot of things clearer for me. And then I guess in true autistic fashion, I did my deep researches with it, made notes and everything. But that also led me to looking up other females with autism. Other females with autism, to see their experiences and watching them discuss their experiences. Oh my goodness, I felt so seen. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not the only one. Yeah. Yeah. 2 other titles. Actually, no, I have more to share a little bit. Hold on. Yeah, so when doing my research within autism and autistic traits and within females and how it differs, and then of course as a black female with autistic traits, there's an extra layer there. So I did my research into that, and specifically hearing stories of other black women or black girls sharing their stories with autistic traits. I needed to hear that, and I'm so glad people are sharing their stories, all types of people, but in my specific case, seeing other people like me experience the world the way I do a little bit, I needed that. Okay, so 2 other titles that I relate to, and I won't go into depth with these 2 titles, I'm just going to say it. Being a crystal child, so you can look that up if you want, a crystal child, and also a fairy. Fairy traits. All the things that I've said, so HSP, autism, crystal child, and fairy, I feel there's a lot of correlation, a lot of overlap. But again, I feel all of that probably comes under the umbrella term neurodivergence, which to me just means that you think and experience the world in a different way. And within that, there's differences. So someone else who maybe shares these traits that I've said may still experience the world in a different way. We're all different and we're all lovely and beautiful. Just want to put that out. Okay, last bit. I feel that now that I know these things about myself, I'm more committed to loving me the way that I need to be loved, and it's helpful to know how I need to be cared for when it comes to self-love and self-care. I think that's it. That's all I wanted to share about me. This was quite big for me. It's only been in the last few weeks, or maybe even less than that, that I've kind of discovered all of this and done all my research and stuff, but I did feel guided to put this out there. So if any of you relate to anything I said, or have anything comforting and supportive to share or say, then you can leave a comment below. I think that's it. I'm going to go now. Thank you for listening. I appreciate it. Okay, bye-bye.